Jim Abbott's story is more than just one of baseball glory. It is a profound narrative about human resilience, the power of belief, and the limitless potential that lies within the human spirit. This is a story that transcends the realm of sports and delves deep into the essence of what it means to fight against all odds, to refuse to be defined by the limitations others place on you, and to never, ever give up on yourself. Born in Flint, Michigan, on September 19, 1967, Jim Abbott came into the world with a seemingly insurmountable challenge. Born without a right hand, Jim's future was one that many people would consider unimaginable. In a world where physical ability is often the key to success, Jim's birth was seen by some as a cruel joke. How could someone without a hand ever dream of playing a sport as physically demanding as baseball? How could someone who couldn't throw a baseball with two hands ever hope to compete at the highest levels of the game? But Jim Abbott didn't just live with the cards he was dealt. He reshuffled them. He didn't see a barrier. He saw a challenge waiting to be overcome. From the very beginning, Jim was driven by a fierce desire to play baseball, just like every other kid who dreamed of wearing a major league uniform. It wasn't an easy road. There were no shortcuts, no free passes. He faced constant scrutiny, skepticism, and doubt. Kids on the playground would ask how he could play baseball with only one hand. Coaches wondered if he had what it took to field his position. Even his family, while supportive, had their doubts, knowing the level of adversity he would face. But Jim, with his unshakable determination and fierce love for the game, turned every question into a source of motivation. Jim was never content with simply meeting expectations. He went above and beyond to develop the skills he needed to not only compete, but to thrive. He spent countless hours working on the fundamentals of the game, perfecting the art of fielding with one hand. He practiced fielding ground balls, throwing, and catching, using every ounce of focus and perseverance in his body. He didn't just rely on his natural talent. He worked harder than anyone else to turn what was once seen as a weakness into a strength. He would bounce a rubber ball off the wall in his backyard, forcing himself to become a master of his body and his craft. What others might have thought was impossible, Jim turned into a skill. His glove wasn't an extension of his hand, it became part of his body. His mind, his heart, and his unrelenting work ethic were the true tools he needed to succeed. He didn't just play baseball, he redefined what it meant to play the game. By the time Jim reached high school, his dedication was undeniable. He didn't just prove his doubters wrong. He proved to the world that limitations existed only in people's minds. His high school coaches were skeptical, wondering if he could really field at such a high level with just one hand. Jim showed them the truth in the most spectacular way. Not only did he prove them wrong, but he did so in a way that left everyone in awe. He played first base when he wasn't pitching, showcasing his fielding ability in ways that had never been seen before. His talent wasn't just limited to fielding. Jim was an exceptional hitter. He batted .427 during his senior year of high school, with 7 home runs to his name. His pitching was just as remarkable, posting an ERA of 0.76. Jim Abbott was no ordinary player. He was a force to be reckoned with. He had defied the odds his whole life, and he had the stats to prove it. The scouts took notice, and despite being drafted in the 36th round by the Toronto Blue Jays, Jim decided to pursue his dream at the University of Michigan instead. At Michigan, Jim faced the same doubts that had plagued him his entire life. Would he be able to perform at the highest level of college baseball? Would he be able to hold his own against players who were bigger, stronger, and more experienced? The answer came in the form of a remarkable career. His freshman year, he posted a 6.2 record, and by his sophomore year, he was leading the Wolverines to new heights. He pitched a shutout in the NCAA tournament and earned a spot on the U.S. national team. The man who was told he couldn't succeed, who was doubted at every turn, was now dominating on the national stage. It was in 1988, after an incredible performance at Michigan, that Jim made his decision to enter the MLB draft. The Anaheim Angels selected him 8th overall, signing him to a $207,000 contract. The media buzz around Jim's entry into professional baseball was unlike anything the Angels had ever seen. He had become a symbol of perseverance and heart, a living testament to the power of will. Jim Abbott wasn't just a baseball player, he was a story that the world needed to hear. Jim's entry into the big leagues was historic. He was the 15th player in history to completely skip the minor leagues, a feat that had only been accomplished by a few before him. His first major league appearance, on April 8, 1989, against the Seattle Mariners, was one of the most significant moments in baseball history. The significance of his debut was only rivaled by Jackie Robinson breaking the color barrier. Jim's debut wasn't just about his performance on the field, it was about what he represented. Despite losing that game, Jim's performance was remarkable. He pitched 5 solid innings, and at the end of the game, the packed crowd at Angel Stadium gave him a standing ovation. It wasn't just a moment of sportsmanship, it was a moment of recognition. Jim Abbott was more than just a player. He was a symbol of what it meant to never give up. He had turned every no, every doubt, and every obstacle into a triumph. It wasn't just a baseball game. This was a battle for the soul, a victory of human spirit over limitation. The years that followed were filled with highs and lows. Jim had some incredible seasons, including a third-place finish in the 1991 AL Cy Young voting, but there were also struggles. Baseball is a game of both triumph and defeat, and Jim Abbott knew that better than anyone. But through it all, he never lost sight of who he was. He didn't just play the game, he changed the game. And in 1993, Jim Abbott would make history once again with the New York Yankees. On September 4th, 1993, Jim Abbott threw a no-hitter against the Cleveland Indians. But this wasn't just any no-hitter. This was the culmination of a lifetime of pain, sweat, and sacrifice. Every struggle Jim had faced in his life, every moment when others had told him he couldn't, led to this very moment. Jim Abbott had done the impossible. He had thrown a no-hitter with only one hand. The no-hitter wasn't just a technical achievement, it was a powerful reminder of the human spirit. It was the proof that no matter the odds, no matter the circumstances, Jim Abbott had the power to overcome, to fight, and to rise above. The cheers, the standing ovations, and the moment when the world saw what he had accomplished. It was a tribute to everything Jim had been through. A victory for every person who had ever been told they couldn't. But Jim Abbott's legacy isn't just about baseball. His true legacy lies in how he used his story to inspire others. After retiring, Jim dedicated himself to mentoring children with disabilities and using his platform to provide hope and encouragement to those who faced adversity. He mentored Chad Bentz, the third MLB player with only one hand, and became a vocal supporter of Shaquem Griffin, the first one-handed NFL player. Jim Abbott didn't just change baseball, he changed lives. He used his story to remind us that there are no limits, no barriers that cannot be broken when you have the courage to face them. His story is one of pain, of sacrifice, of doubt, and of overcoming everything that ever stood in his way. His journey is a testament to the unbreakable power of the human spirit, a reminder that no matter how difficult the road may seem, the strength to succeed lies within us all. Jim Abbott's story teaches us that the only real limits are the ones we accept. He has shown us that with enough heart, enough determination, and enough will to fight through the darkest moments, there is no challenge too great to conquer. Jim Abbott didn't just prove everyone wrong. He proved to the world that we are all capable of far more than we think. The only thing standing between us and greatness is the belief that we can't achieve it. His ultimate message is this: you don't need everything to be perfect. You don't need all the resources or advantages. What you need is an unstoppable belief in yourself, an unrelenting drive, and the will to keep going, no matter how many times you fall. Because when you unlock your potential, when you tap into the force within you, there is nothing you can't achieve. Jim Abbott's story is a living, breathing testament to the fact that greatness is not defined by what you lack, but by what you are willing to do with what you have. His journey, his tears, his struggles, they are all part of a greater story that will continue to inspire generations. It is a story that says, if Jim Abbott can achieve the impossible, then so can you.